Greetings, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Iron and Ceramite, where we once again enter the warp without an astropath.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Iron and Ceramite podcast. My name is John, and this week I'm joined by Shane.
Hello.
Dave.
Hello.
And Tom.
What's up, son?
And we're missing somebody. Glenn isn't here this week because, well, he doesn't paint anything anyway, but I think he's busy at work, so we're just going to crack on without him for this week. Slight difference. We've changed the format, and we're going to start doing our Hobby Roundup and then split it and do the main episode on the Friday. And this week it was going to be Dark Angels, and Glenn was going to take us through that. So we'll postpone it for now. This week you're just going to get the Hobby Roundup, and then we'll get back to normal programming pretty soon. But how are you guys doing anyway?
Very well. Very well. Thank you.
Good.
Yep, all good.
Right, so we haven't done too much gaming this week. It's just been Dave and Tom. You're the only ones who got a game in, haven't you?
You want to take it from here, Dave?
This is my. I have done a bit of extra work on these. So this was the army that I took against Tom yesterday. So it's two squads of assault intercessors, a normal intercessor squad, a reaver squad, suppressors, 6 hellblasters, a squad of outriders, tactical warsuit, impulsor, and repulsor executioner, and aggressors. Sorry, and led by Helbrecht, Emperor's Champion, and Grimaldus, who unfortunately did very little, but the rest of them done enough to secure another glorious victory for the Namakaj Crusade.
I was going to ask.
I was very pleased with it, actually.
How did the command squad go? And you've kind of already answered it.
Yeah.
What I had one
almost
character that
rage
wiped
quit.
out all three of them. That's how it went.
Yeah. I genuinely almost rage quit. I felt what it was like to go against the Emperor's Champion with his what was it, company champion?
His company champion, but to champion upgrade, and I can't remember what the CP I used, the requisition, but it gave him Champion of Humanity as well, an extra warlord trait, even though he wasn't the warlord. So he had just tons of stuff.
Yeah. So he killed Helbrecht before Helbrecht done anything. I just forgot. Tom told me about all of his all the things he could do, and then I just completely ignored it and charged him, and then he fought first and wiped out Helbrecht. So that was really annoying. But other than that, it was a really, really good game, really close, sort of a bit of to in and fro in, good rolling on both sides. So it's not as if there was any sort of big moments where we thought it's all come down to the dice. It was just so close. It was just unlucky for Tom in the end. I think on another day, it would definitely been a victory for him, because I think there's only 5 points in it at the end. But yeah, I learned a lot. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to bring a few new models as well, because as you can see, I haven't painted over half the army and I just haven't used them, but I wanted to bring them out. So yeah, other than the warsuit who got wiped out straight away from a heroic intervention from his librarian as well, the rest of them done really well.
Okay, I've got 2 follow-up questions, because one of them was going to be about the Invicta warsuit, which I've seen on a lot of battle reports. People run them in pairs because they are a bit glass hammer, like they can hit hard, but they distract people. So it was obviously clearly, it distracted but got wiped out. How did the heroic intervention go? Because it's one of those things that I've always struggled to work out how it works in practice, and I've never got one off. So I'm curious, how did it work? Talk me through it.
So using the warsuit, I deployed him with concealed positions. So I moved him right up the board again, just as a distraction, with a hope to destroy 3 of the eradicators that Tom took. And he took out 1, didn't he, Tom? Took out 1.
In his shooting phase, he took out 1. Yeah,
took out 1. And then I charged the eradicators, and then obviously the is it Librarian Dreadnought that you've got?
Yeah, he was within 3 inches. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
So he heroically intervened and obviously got to fight first, and just managed to take him out before he did anything else. I think,
Right.
Again, a couple of good dice rolls, poor saving throws from me. I think, is it high AP on the Dreadnought? I can't remember what it was.
Massive. He's got 4 attacks, 5 with shock assault, and that's with his I can't remember, Furioso Fist. And I think it's -3 AP, but it's 3 damage each. So when that got through, and then you get 1 extra attack with the false halberd, which is, I think, if you make it, I can't remember if I think it's 3 damage, no, D6 plus 3, I think it is, if you make it as damage. So it could potentially be 9 damage. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be the next question. Is I know that the Librarian Dreadnoughts, I've seen them in a lot of lists on YouTube because they apparently do work. They're quite hardcore. So is that how it went over?
Mine's been my one has been definitely the star of the show in every match I've played against Dave, at least. He pretty much single-handedly won one of the 2 games that I've actually managed to win against Dave, which was ridiculously tight. But if it wasn't for that model, I would have definitely lost, and it looked like I would do. And he run through like your Dreadnought and a couple of your, was it your
I think he took out about 3 squads on his own.
Yeah. And then just run across the map towards his drop pod to take that out before he could kill me. That's definitely my hero so far of everything I've collected.
Yeah. I think it took out the war suit, soaked up a lot of shocks from my Hellblasters, which I was hoping to go into the Eradicators, and then took out an Impulsor as well before being taken out by the Executioner. So yeah, he done really well actually. He was one of
the only problem with him is he's got low wounds. When you're coming up against Primaris things like the Executioner's got 15 wounds, hasn't it, Dave? And things like that.
I think he might even have more than that, yeah.
It's something like that, yeah. And he's only got 8 wounds. So if you can pick him off from a distance in a clear line of sight, then he wouldn't probably last too long. If he manages to get in, and obviously he can use his psychic powers as well. Quickening was one I used, so you can re-roll the advance and charge. And also when you get there, you can add D3 to your attacks. So that's pretty amazing, really. I mean, not that you'd probably need it in most occasions if you roll well, but if you come up against something big like Dave's Execution, if I managed to get in on that, I could potentially have wiped that out in one go. I mean,
Yeah, 16 wounds for the Executioner. So it's that's a lot to roll. Yeah,
bloody well.
Yeah. No, it was a really good game. I mean, again, the Repulsor Executioner. I'm definitely going to bring that again. There's just so much firepower, and it wasn't anything sort of standout, but it took out a few of the Blade Guard, took out a couple of Eradicators, stuck a few wounds on the Assault Intercessors, the Inceptor. It just done work. It wasn't amazing. It was no sort of spectacular things that absolutely wiped things out, but it just weakened a lot of his forces and was just sort of a bit of a thorn in his side as well. I obviously pushed up his my left flank, his right flank, and that's where the majority of the sort of the main event sort of unfolded. And he was there most of the time until the end. I think he got taken out by.
It could have been my gunship got most of the wounds on him.
Yeah, I think it was a gunship in the end. Yeah. But yeah, it was just I'm definitely going to bring that again.
But I made a massive mistake with that, didn't I, as well? Because I forgot to move. I had 3 Eradicators left, and I thought they was within 24 inches, and I left them. I thought because they're in cover, I'll leave them there. It's fine. They was a millimetre away from shooting at him, and I could have just moved them up a touch more, and it would have been fine. I did make a few mistakes in that game tactically, but it was still close.
I think in that round he took out the lieutenant as well. So,
so that's
just takes out the rolls and all the perks. So, but yeah, very very close game. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I'm not going to rush to take out riders again.
I was going to say,
or I'm just going to use them differently because I didn't use them very well, I don't think. But it's difficult when you bring in all these new models. Obviously, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 of these units I've never used before. So it was a lot to learn, and some of it I didn't learn very well. It was a steep learning curve, especially for the Outriders. I think I could have used the impulsor a bit better. But yeah, it was a really interesting game. It went. Obviously, I'm quite happy that I won, but on another day, it would have been completely different.
And for both of you, is this your first two? Because this was 2,000 points, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's our
2,000
first 2,000 battle, and it's also our first objective battle. I know we only played the main objective, no secondary or anything like that. But yeah, it went pretty smoothly, I felt like. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that it helps playing against another Space Marine army because we were reminding each other of the doctrines and the sort of, just all sorts, and you sort of get used to what each other have got a bit easier than Death Guard or some of the other stuff, obviously. So yeah, I think we were definitely getting there. I think that we've played a fair few games together now as well, so we're starting to pick up how each other play. The units that we bring, and we're starting to remember a lot more as well. So yeah, I think overall it was quite smooth and interesting, and very interesting. I think that on another day, if Tom had got his Terminators in, that's basically what the battle came down to. He took 2 turns when I thought if he brought them all in one go, that would have been the game for him. But I think I still had a lot of Hellblasters, still had the Executioner, and a lot of sort of things that could have taken them out relatively easily. And I think that he sort of delayed it, and that was one of the errors. But then I also didn't make a charge with Reavers that could have denied him taking points. So yeah, it was a learning curve, but I really enjoyed it. Really, really good game. Really, really good game.
The one thing that annoyed me, right, was that, and this really annoys me for some reason. Yeah, apart from everything else, but that I can't get it out of my mind, right? That you go for 5 rounds, yeah, and I still think that if you wipe your opponent out within 5 rounds, that should be your game. I know you're playing an objective game, but I think that should be a second part of it.
There's different scenarios will dictate that. So there are some games where if you table your opponent, you win, regardless of objectives. But there are other ones where it will be called a strategic victory, where by a view, if even if you wipe them out, there's no way you can catch them on points. So it's classed as a strategic or Pyrrhic victory. So they've not really won, but they have on academically.
Yeah.
So it all depends what scenario you're playing. But I know what you mean. Like there should be like an additional bonus or a multiplier if you manage to
whatever
wipe
makes
out.
you feel better, Tom.
Yeah. Do you know what? Right, he had what? Do you have 5 models left? 6. I had pretty much all my Terminators. I had my gunship. I had a few of my tactical squad. One of the Blade Guard. Oh God.
I had 2 Hellblasters and 4 Assault Intercessors. That's it.
But that was like the Death Guard versus the Necron, right? I had my Scorpec Lord, and that was about it. And John still had all of his Blight Lord Terminators, I think.
Yeah, and it was the same when I played against Glenn's Admech, because he was down to his whatever the last unit he had was, and I still had my full wound Plague Burst Crawler and 2 Terminators. So good dice roll was probably round 6. I might have taken him out. So it's just one of them things. It is annoying because you're like, let's just keep going. Let's go one more round. But it ends. It's like because I went round yours. I just remembered, Tom, we played the game that you made up, like your kill team,
half an hour game. Team.
Yeah, that was all right. But that was it, wasn't it? Because what was it? 3 rounds, and then I'd won, and then we did 2 more, and then you won. If we had gone that far, but it is what it is. But yeah, playing objectives is much better than just playing to the death, I think.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
There's a lot more to think about. Yeah.
And
Tom, are you going to mention the little accidental trick that I played on you with the objective down the bottom?
This could have got me a draw, right? So I had two. I worked it out. I got everyone in position where I wanted to. You know how your mind sometimes, when you've got a big game going on, you remember a lot of things, and your mind just turns to mush. Yeah. So I had two characters or 2 models on a point where he wasn't contesting at all, and then I just fought with them. I killed a couple of his guys, and I was going right. I'm moving on to, and Dave went, "Oh, you just killed them, aren't you going to consolidate?" and just not thinking, I just pushed them up like that. I went there you go, like that, and looked around, and then he went, "Oh, you've just left the objective like that."
Yeah.
And I was like,
It wasn't deliberate. It sounds deliberate, but it wasn't. It wasn't. And but it won me the game.
How smug was you after that, though? I bet you had a little smug little face going on.
The way you said it, "Oh, you've just left the objective." The way you hit, you know what Dave's face is like. You just want to button it, you just want to glass it.
Yeah, I definitely didn't mean to, but you know, now you've
won me the game. So,
yeah, now you've done it. You've definitely left that objective.
Yeah, don't trust Dave.
It's your fault.
We did have a couple of roll-offs, though. We did have a few things that we sort of didn't agree on. And,
we was very fair with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I think it was a very, very fair game. And even like we forgot a couple of things, I forgot a couple of things, and I went back and did it. Tom allowed me, and then Tom forgot a couple of things, and I said I'll go back and do it. We rolled a couple more dice afterwards, and I think it was as fair could be. It was just unfortunate that happened for Tom.
Apart from you clambering up on the barrels.
Yeah. So he said it was light cover. So I had an aggressor basically standing on some barrels.
About 2 inches in the air, like it would have been about 8 foot above the Space Marine in real life.
But again, we couldn't work out whether it was allowed or not, so we rolled off. And
yeah.
So, I was going to say what that was going to be my question. Is what I'm always curious about when people roll off is like where they've not disagreed but haven't come to a decision. So I was going to ask what the roll off. So one of them was whether you can stand on top of barrels.
Yeah, pretty much. We were using it as light cover, and it was just sort of it come down to whether it would actually work or not. Because you think of aggressors. They're not the most mobile of units. Would they able to just hop on top of a set of barrels and then start swinging their fists?
6 foot down.
But I suppose is it
that was Tom's point of view.
Is it breachable?
Well, the thing is, what my thing was, they wasn't within half an inch because of the height of his model or my model, because it was over half an inch up. You know what I mean?
No, but the vertical range is different.
Yeah, I'm not sure what vertical range is, to be honest, with engagement range. So I have no idea what that is.
I think it's like 5 inches.
For engagement range?
For vertical?
Yeah.
It's like much more than horizontal. Might be 3 inches.
Maybe. But that doesn't make sense to me, because then how are they going to fight if they're that far above?
Oh no! I mean, I agree with you. Like, I think the vertical engagement range doesn't make any sense, but it's much bigger than the horizontal engagement range.
Oh, I'll have to look that up then, because I didn't even realise.
That's really annoying, because I would have had another aggressor to take out them blade guard. Oh well,
you did it the right way, right? You rolled off.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's the fairest way of doing it. It was just really annoying that every time we rolled off, Tom won.
Well, you remember you set stratagem and come back quite well at the end though with your Empress champion. You can remember because I killed him off, and you so you got the last laugh in a way.
Yeah, his company champion took out my Empress. Well, after taking out Helbrecht and Grimaldus and the Empress champion, I brought him back. I can't remember what the stratagem was. But he basically gets to fight again after he is destroyed. And then he managed to take out the company champion. So, yeah, it was a minor victory at the end, but a victory all the same.
So other than not taking Outriders, like that list you got, Dave, how and I'll ask the same question to you as well, Tom. Like that list, how would you change it? If you were going to tweak it and be like, right, I want a better list, what would you take out?
I wouldn't take the Reavers again because I thought they'd be a lot better. I probably should have looked at their stats before actually taking them. But I thought they'd be a lot better in combat than they were. And I think that the reason why they are quite good is because you need to use a couple of the stratagems with them. So I could have used a stratagem terror troops to basically deny him at the objective on the far left of the screen, next to the bunker, and that would have obviously stopped him from scoring 5 points at some point in the match. But I completely forgot about it, and instead they just couldn't defeat the tactical squad.
I don't think Reavers are very good against Marine army.
No, I think obviously you've got the terror troops, so it's good versus sort of low leadership stuff. But I had all these grand ideas that just didn't pay off, so they wouldn't come in this list again.
Yeah.
I think I probably would possibly just change them with, again, a sort of a sneaky beaky unit, something like infiltrators or something like that. Because Tom's fared really well. You can't actually see him, but just on the top of the screen, his infiltrators got. Oh, you had in cursors. The infiltrators, again, has got that sort of sneaky beaky, get in the way and be annoying sort of trait that his incurs has done for the first round, and they soaked up so much fire. And yeah, that was really frustrating as well.
So that was all down to transhuman physiology?
Transhuman physiology, yeah.
Physiology.
It's a good strat.
Which is a really good strat, and that saved my Hellblasters as well.
Yeah,
at the end, didn't it? Yeah, I used that again.
So. You needed that as well, because I would have got you off the point now.
Yeah, 100%. So I probably would take the Outriders again, but I wouldn't use them how I did use them, because I just sort of went straight up the board and got obliterated. So, and everything went into them, and I think the Sergeant lasted a long time, but they didn't do anything. They didn't do any significant wounds. They just sort of got in the way, and I think it's 150 points. It's quite an expensive unit not to do anything.
Yeah.
Because obviously I wanted them to be a very annoying unit that could go to his objectives and do decent charges and be a bit more harassing than just getting in the way. So I think I'll probably use them differently. But other than that, I think the Assault Intercessor's done really well.
Mm-hmm.
The Intercessor's done their job of just standing on a point. So I probably could have had them as a tactical squad and save myself a few points, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. But I'll bring the Warsuit again.
Okay.
But again, I might play that slightly differently, because I sent him all the way up and he just got wiped out again. But again, on a different time, if it didn't have a bloody dreadnought doing a heroic intervention, I probably would have taken that as Eradicators in turn one, which would be massive. So yeah, that wouldn't change huge amounts. Just the Reavers mainly.
What about yourself, Tom? What would you change in your list? Having played it now, if you're going to play it again, what would you tweak?
Well, to be honest, I was really happy with the way it all worked together, apart from one element, which was the Terminators. And I so want them to work. They're the models I like the look of most. I love the idea of the first company, the Terminators, coming into battle. Every time I've used them, they've completely flopped, big time. But if I could just get them to work, I know, it's just the average of the roll of the dice sort of thing, but I'm starting to lose faith with them a little bit now. So I'm thinking maybe, I know Dave didn't have the best luck with his Outriders, but I was thinking maybe just for a bit more speed, maybe putting some Outriders in there and a squad of jump pack Vanguard veterans, maybe with some shields, just so that they can have an in-barn, and getting rid of the Terminators, because although they deep strike, they very rarely, well, since I've been playing with them, make any of the charges. Because obviously 9 inches is still quite a high.
It's still a big charge, right?
Yeah. I mean, even though mine's 8 with, because I get the extra 1 to my charge Blood Angels, but still, it's not really paying off. So I think that's probably what I would do. Just get a bit more speed to know that I can get to points a little bit quicker and contest them. Even if I get wiped off, I still know that I'm within with a chance of getting them.
I mean, what I did with mine, I don't know if you remember, I think the battle where you came over to mine that we played, is you bring yours deep strike and it's quite strategic where you go in. I plopped mine in front of them, soaked up a load of fire, moved them and then charged them, which just means that they were a lot more likely to go off. And sometimes I think with Terminators, you just got to perhaps just move them first and hope that, put them somewhere where you're just going to soak up some fire and then go with them. Because like I say, even with Black Templars, because we can re-roll the charge, 2 9-inch rolls is quite tough to get sometimes. So
I think it's one of them things, isn't it? It's the dice roll again. Like you say, if you can stand there and soak up the pressure and someone wipes you off the table, you'd be going, what the fuck did I do that for? Why didn't I deep strike them? Like, and vice versa sort of thing. But yeah, I do see your point there. I think maybe I should have just put once because I split them into 2 sets of 5. I think I should have done that with 1 set just to make sure that I was actually doing something with them. And maybe I could have deep strike the others and just sort of, gone with them. But Yeah, live and learn.
Fair enough.
Cool.
And
Anything else
next.
for your game?
Exterminatus. No, I don't think so. I think that's everything.
Yeah. And you haven't done any painting other than a bit of spraying, Dave?
So actually, that's not fair because I have painted black Templar contrast on my Outriders and both of my Assault Intercessor squads.
Oh well,
Thank you very much.
We would know if you bothered sending any photos in, wouldn't we?
And if you squint and look to the far left of your screen, you can see my dry brushed Wall of Martyrs bunker as well.
That does look pretty cool, to be fair. Yeah, and also it's got some brilliant detail on it with the Imperial Guard, dead Imperial Guard units around it. But
yeah, I will at some point. I will spend a lot more time on it, but for the time being, I'm just going to dry brush it. Maybe in the next episode, I might send some pictures in. I might not. We'll find out.
That's a no then. Definitely no.
That's a no. But then this did come out of your house, though, didn't it?
This is, yeah. So I convinced my partner Shannon to paint her first ever mini. She's a makeup artist, and I've been all proud about my little painting. She's like, I could do better. And there we are. She can.
That is really good. I must admit. And I like the scheme for that as well.
Yeah, it looks. I think it looks even better in person as well. Like the scheme really pops. It's just, I can't say it for the life of me. It's a contrast paint, but it's athematic blue or something like that.
Oh, I know the one. I've got it for my Necrons. It's nice. It's a good colour.
Yeah, it's a really nice colour. And she saw that. She was like, I bought it from Games Workshop that morning. Popped to the local shop, bought it, and then because I was thinking, oh, that's going to go on my Necrons. And she was like, I like that one. I'm going to open it. And then she's just opened up all my new paints, and I was like, oh, okay, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to whinge. So it's just the athematic blue. And then there's retributor gold for the gold bits, and just a better black for the other bits. And she's done a bit of dry brushing with the Griffon gold as well. It's come out really well. The colour scheme's great. And she did quite enjoy it, so I'm hoping to convince her to do a few more, and perhaps
maybe get her to do some of yours, Dave.
Yeah.
Just sit there with a pipe and your slippers on, watching Match of the Day, innit?
But I don't think she's going to be into it as much as I am. But she enjoyed it. I think that it was a cool challenge for her. It's something different. And yeah, it's nice to see someone transfer their skills. She's very, very talented at what she does. And then obviously she's just shown me up here. So I'm quite, yeah.
You've got to get her to get a squad together, and then at least you can run them in the army.
It would be, that would be cool, wouldn't it? But we'll see. I nagged for about 6 months to get her to do this. So we'll see.
Great
I showed Kate, and she's not having any of it, mate.
No.
She's not impressed. She's actually disappointed in Shannon.
The thing is, she wasn't doing it because she wanted to be nice. She literally wanted to show how fit I am at it, and just go, look what I can do. I've never touched this before in my life. But
I tried playing that angle as well. And say, you might be better than me. And she's like, well, I don't care. So it didn't really work. Cool. Anything else, Dave?
No, I think that's everything for me.
Cool. Right, I put mine next. My Lord Felfius and the Tainted Cohort, which I really enjoyed painting these. They're actually bigger than the other Terminators, or the newer Terminators as well, when you see them side by side. So this is the one I already had done. I just touched it up a little bit. And then this is the second one with the Plague Spewer, who the old model, or the original model, only comes with the Plague Spewer and not an axe. But obviously Terminators, like, you can have the Plague Spewer and the axe, but on the old data sheet he couldn't carry an axe. But obviously things have changed. I don't know how old Lord Felfius is, what edition he came out, so I had to chop up an axe I had laying about and just fasten it on. You can actually,
is that
photo, I've just realised
is that kit bashing, John?
It is probably the first bit of kit bashing I've done.
Kit fastening.
And it's all right. You can see. I've just realised looking at the picture, I can see the green stuff poking out of his hand. But luckily, like he's green anyway, so.
I think if you hadn't pointed that out, I don't think anyone would have ever noticed it. I think you're always going to be your own worst critic, because I do it all the time. I take a picture and I'm like, this is like one of the best models I've ever painted. And then you take a picture and you're like, oh, fuck. You see every single flaw. But yeah. What colour do you use for the blue on the top?
Blue flame looks awesome. Yeah, I was about to pass that.
It's a mix of contrast. If I can dig them out while we're doing this, I'll tell you. So I use a technical called Soulstone Blue, which just gives it a bit of a shine. And then it is Thousand Sun Blue on the base, and then I cover it with a contrast,
nice.
Which is in there. But that's what I've been doing with like the blue smoke.
Nice.
And I quite like that.
If you go back to the shot of all of them, because a few of them have got it. It's really cool, actually. It's nice that it ties them all in. It stands out.
What's the lead dude called? Felfius. I really like his face. He's like a real gleeful nurgling.
Yeah.
Right. He's just so happy to be here. So happy to spread Nurgle's gift. And then this dude's more tentacles than horns. And the little nurglings.
It actually looks like he's got a knob on his head, or is that his tail? That little.
I think it's a horn. It's a horn, but it's come out a bit knobby, isn't it?
It's more of a gift of Slanesh, right? Rather than a gift of Nurgle.
It looks like a Slaneshi Teletubby down there.
He's for hire on weekends. He'll do anything. And then there's the man himself. Close up.
Yeah. The face is awesome. I like the horns as well. I like all the whatever they are, bones sticking out the top.
Yeah. And I really.
What do you use for those?
Cape. For his horns. Screaming Skull, I think it's called. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of all these paints. There's so many of them.
Skeleton horn.
Are you sure you painted it?
Yeah, well, I don't. I just look at the colours. I'll dig it. I'm looking in the drawer. I'm panicking, but I can't find it.
What's his weapon profile? He's got the. Is it the Reaper?
He's got the Man Reaper and the Orb of Dissidence. I don't know. Decadence.
Descending. Well, anyway, yeah.
He's got. I'll tell you what it's called. I can't pronounce this.
So explain all the goo all over him, wouldn't it?
Distended
dissertation. Fuck knows. He's got an orb that glows and spews gunk out of it. That's
quite glows.
We'll go with that. And then there's his cape.
I love his cape. That looks really good, man.
Yeah, it's nice.
I like how you picked out like the little maggots and grubs.
Yeah, good. That was fun to do. I didn't know where to stop with it, but I just did a contrast over it of God's sake, I can't remember. Wildwood. It was Wildwood.
Oh, okay.
Wildwood contrast, and then I just picked out a few maggots here and there. Then I've got a family shot of all my Terminators so far.
Of course, the Lord of Contagion's going to get fucked off, right? Because he's no good.
He has let me down far too many times. Lord Felfius is going to get a go for a while. For an extra 5 points, you get the orb.
Of decadence.
He's going to dick you with the orb. So that's pretty much it. That's all I've done since the last time. And I think you'll both be seeing plenty of Terminators over the weekend.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, I'm dreading going against you again, John. Honestly, I've had such a bad run of luck already, and now you've just got more of the things that keep annihilating me.
Just stay away from them. Stay away from them.
I'm going to have to, aren't I? But then,
they're not fast enough to get you. Just stay away from them.
Yeah.
It's so
Well,
tempting though, just to run into them and go, "No, I'm a blood angel. This is what I'm going to do." I take it too seriously.
you're very sort of lore driven when you play. aren't
Yeah,
you?
I just want to do what I think's cool. And if I lose, then I'll get frustrated, but I'll be sort of like, "Oh, I went out on my, on my shield or whatever they call it." Yeah, they look cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you're getting a pretty decent army now. How many points would you say you've got in total now, roughly? Just a rough figure. Maybe 2,500, 3,000?
Maybe 2.5. I will get them out and count them all up eventually. I've got some time off coming up, so I'll do it then mid-August and work it out, because I've only got left on sprue. I've got another 10 poxwalkers. I've got the bloat drone that you got sorted out for me, Dave. And I've got like a couple of marines, and then I've got a spare Lord of Contagion and a spare Noxious Light Brightbringer bringer, but I don't know what I'm going to do with those yet. Whether I'm going to paint them up or do something else.
Because I was going to say, with you've almost got all of yours painted, right? So that 2,500 is almost all painted, right?
Oh yeah. I haven't really played anything unpainted. Like,
Off. You literally played things. You literally played a base with me.
Yeah, that was.
And
once.
you played
That
the
was
first
really
time you had Lord of Contagion. You had a base and corpse.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
That was one.
Twice you played me with two really important characters where they've literally just been a fucking
Who was
base.
The second one?
So,
oh yeah, the second one was the Plaguecaster.
Lord of Contagion, and then you had the Plaguecaster.
I don't play anything.
You believe me, I've got it. It does this.
No, I don't play anything unpainted.
It's a fucking base.
I don't play anything unpainted. I just play the bases.
Yeah.
Completely unbuilt.
So I wasn't lying. Don't try and call me.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Lord of Corks.
Lord of Corks. Oh, Lord of Corks is going in the fucking bin. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And then my competition for Friday night.
Yeah,
I love these. These look really good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're definitely not heretical, so they're okay, right? They're a starting. It's all right. And and I found out they go in a rhino as well, which is may or may not be a tactic that comes up on Friday.
How?
How would you shepherd them in the back door?
They've got an infantry. They've got an infantry keyword, so they go in a rhino. So that's it.
Are those claws retractable?
No, do you know what? Looking at the model, no, they're not. I tell you, the one thing that I want to do with the claws, which I haven't done yet, is because that's Talasar blue, but I want to try and do some edge highlighting with either a white or a lighter blue, because they're supposed to be frost claws. So I want to see whether I can give them just that kind of hint of frost. I think at the moment it's all one tone because it's Talasar blue. But
is that the same, Tom? Is that the same colour you used on your Ultramarines?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So in person, that looks amazing as well.
It's a really nice colour. Like I really like Talasar blue.
Yeah.
I think, as I said though, just as one colour, it just needs a little bit of maybe edge highlighting, and that'd be enough.
I'll tell you one thing, Shane, that I've noticed doing like claws and things like that. If you dry brush it white, you've got to be very careful, but that works really well to make it look like a frosty sort of effect. It's not as clean as edge highlighting, but yeah.
I did think about that. My edge highlighting, I always not edge highlighting, my dry brushing. I'm like, whenever I start or I go to do it, and I'm like, I never wipe enough paint off, and so you do the first stroke, you're like, oh, there's too much paint on there.
Fuck, already,
you fucked it. I'm always like, there's, because I'll like be brushing the paint off, and I'll be like, I've brushed too much off. Surely that's too much, and then I'll go to dry brush, and I'll be like, oh no, there was far too much on there, and that's
I've done that.
Yeah, I'm just not bold enough. I've got to get better at that. But otherwise, I'm really pleased with how they. I mean, I had the crazy idea that I was going to try and paint 5 Wolven, 4 Thunderwolves, and 5 Intercessors in time for Friday. And that was, 3 or 4 weeks ago? I got 5 Wolfen done. That's it. So,
still pretty good going, because they are very detailed.
I got the squad done, so I'm pleased with that. And I had to rework my list a little bit, but it's the list I shared on in our group. I had to tweak the list a little bit because, as I said, I was planning on taking intercessors and Thunderwolf rather than what I've ended up taking. But I think with the Wolven and the extra characters, it will be an interesting battle. I think I've got to go.
What are these, Shane?
What are they? Corks. Yeah.
Hey, Cork.
I've got to run in really quick and punch the Death Guard, because otherwise their contagion range is going to cause me problems. So that's going to be the plan generally. But this is the pack leader for the Wolven, so he has to take Frost Claws. They're really fiddly models to put together. So, like, as I said, they're not like the push fit. They don't clip nicely. You have to hold them together and squeeze them and wait for the glue to set before you can do it.
What are they? Are they plastic or are they?
They are plastic, yeah, and they're too fiddly to kind of paint once fully assembled because of all the little details and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I got there in the end. But I'm really pleased with how they've come out. I really like them as models.
What did you use for their skin? Because I really like the tone of their skin for like a beast sort of look.
Yeah, so the skin is just it's Gilliman flesh contrast, but then with a wash of Agrax over the top.
Wow.
So that's
I wouldn't have thought that. That's really good.
It's if you double coat Gilliman flesh, it gets quite dark. Not really dark, because obviously it's still Gilliman flesh, but it gets darker. And then to pick stuff out, you just put I just put an Agrax wash over the key parts, and that tends to do the job.
Actually, I do remember that it goes quite dark because Dave's Helbrecht turned from Helbrecht into Samuel L. Jackson overnight.
Yeah, yeah. It can if you double coat Gilliman flesh, it can. But yeah, you can get very, very deep tone quickly. The axe on that one that was just up, by the way. That is the only one that I edge highlighted, and you can see it just down the actual blade of the axe.
Actually, looks pretty good. Yeah.
I edged that with I was like Fenrisian grey, so it's a slightly lighter colour than his actual Space Wolf armour. So that came out quite nice. I was quite pleased with that.
It's a little bit more forgiving than the white as well, isn't it? Because the white really shows up if you get it wrong.
Exactly. I was like, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to go for a lighter blue and see how it works, and it worked out quite well. And then also the other bit that was challenging with these guys was I had to freehand all of the red and white pack markings on the knee. So all of the knee pads have got what I can't remember why it's to do with the assault pack that they come from, but they've all got white and red knee pads, and like there's no transfers for it or anything like that. You just have to freehand it. So some of them are better than others, but I was actually quite pleased with how most of them came out, because it was a bit of a challenge. This was the second one I did, and he's got a slightly different hair color to the others. It's Dakarov flesh, I think it is, which is a slightly different brown tone, but it came out okay.
I haven't heard you use the word yet today, Shane, but these are very wolfy indeed. These ones.
They are. I really like this. This is also one of the favourite models I've got, because I think the movement on them, like the way the poses are, is really nice. Like I like this guy in particular with his Thunder Hammer and Storm Shield. I just think looks really, really good. And I know, because it's new model syndrome, right? I'm going to get them out on Friday, charge them up the middle of the battlefield, a bit like the Outriders, Dave. And
Helbrecht.
Yeah. And they'll just get smashed down, and I'll have to put it way back in his box, but it doesn't matter. He looks good while I've got him painted, and I'm happy I got him done.
How tough are these guys?
Don't tell him anything. Don't tell him anything.
Don't tell him nothing.
You'll find out.
Tough.
You'll find out.
They're very tough.
Yeah, all right. Well, I was just making conversation.
So
you're so full of shit.
They've been described as really quick Terminators, but you know they're not as tough as that. But they've got a lot of stuff that they can do, which is quite cool.
Right. Okay.
I'm furiously
I don't look
writing
forward to
notes
that.
down.
Well, so one of the
Lot
good
of
things
stuff.
about them is, I know John, I'll let you know this, but they get to fight again even if they get killed. So if you kill them, like you charge in, you kill them, they still get to fight back.
So like when you have an Astartes banner bearer. So yeah, but they don't. Yeah, that's bloody hell. That's a good one, man. With a hammer as well.
And because of the nature of them, like they're no good at shooting, right? So you've got a couple of launchers on them, like that you've seen on some of the models. But the ballistic skill for a Marine is like it's 4+, so it's not as good as other Marines. But their weapon skill is bang on. They are a close quarters unit, and they're only like a lot of the videos and stuff like that you see on them is they rarely last past turn 2. But the damage they do in that time is what makes them valuable.
John's noting that down. Fuck.
I'm like aiming for the rhino.
No, note it down. That's fine.
I'll be shooting at the rhino, and Bjorn will come up and just rip my heart out.
That's the joy, right? You can be distracted by these, and in that time, Bjorn will come up and just do what Bjorn did last time. It's fine.
These are actually the equivalent of poxwalkers.
Yeah.
It's all distraction, so that John doesn't worry about Bjorn, and then Bjorn just beats him up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm looking forward to it though. Looking forward to not letting them have a go. Put them back in their box.
I'll be gutted if they don't, because they are really cool little minis. But
they are cool.
And it is a horrible feeling when you've like painted something, sunk all them hours into it the first time you get them, and then they don't do anything. It's heartbreaking.
It's because I've specially painted these up to get me to the 1,500 points as well. So it's like, right, I've got 1,500 points of painted Marines, and then they're gonna, well, arguably Marines, and then they're gonna go and die.
Right, cool. Anything else, Shane, before we move on to Tom?
No, I think that's it. I don't know whether I got all 5 through to you, but yeah, I've got the full squad painted now. So yeah, very pleased that they're all done.
Cool. Right, and moving on to you, Tom.
Okay, so
great work. Made that joke already, didn't I?
Yeah, it's probably better than some of my early attempts, but no, this is just sort of similar to what I did with my Emperor's Champion figure that I got from eBay that was on the last pod. I just decided to go on a bit of a spending spree about anything that looks shit on eBay and buying it for cheap, and then trying to strip it and repainting it. So as you can see, it's stripped down really well, once again with methylated spirits. It's a metal model, so I didn't have to worry about it too much. Just chucked it in there, left it a while, and then brushed it off with a nylon brush. So I painted him up, obviously ultramarines colours, but my own version. So I sprayed him plate mail and put the Talisar blue over it, so it looked like metallic armour. I've got to be honest, I don't like the model. The paint job was okay on it, but it's not very well detailed. When you get close up to it, the head's all sort of stuck in there, and it's not really that well proportioned out, and it just looks a bit meh. But I was still happy to get it for £3 and paint another vintage mini, really.
I say it's always the trouble with some of the vintage molds, though, is that they're a bit hit and miss. You'll get some that come out really crisp and nice, and you get some that, as you said, they're a bit squiffy. I love it though. I think it looks great. As I said, I love the vintage models, and I think you've done a great job with it.
Oh, cheers, man. Yeah, I really like the vintage models too. It's just, you can't quite see it from the pictures. When you get close up, I think maybe it was also because I had to scrub it quite a lot to get the paint off. I think it did do a tiny bit of damage, not noticeable until you start to paint it. But it was definitely worth £3.
But I mean, if you look at that compared to where it was when you bought it, like that's, you've redeemed this mini.
I think the person that painted that literally had no eyeballs, no hands, and was painting with their feet, though, to be honest. So it was awful. Literally, there was about 5 layers of paint. It had been painted a yellow and a greeny colour, and then instead of stripping it or doing anything else, they based it again over that. So another layer of thick based colour, and then a big thick blob of blue as well. So it was like it took a while to get off. But yeah, I don't know. God knows what they were thinking. I think I'm being a little bit too harsh. It was probably a child, someone's boy for their kid. But who knows? You might be watching this podcast, and I'm sorry if I've offended you. It was bloody awful.
You saved it for him, though, right?
I did, yeah. Out of the goodness of my heart, yeah, that's why I did it. So I got bored. This podium, is it a podium or whatever you want to call it? Plinth had an American eagle on as a statue, a really cheap, nasty statue, and I just broke the American eagle off to use the base. It was only like £1.50 in a charity shop. Because I looked online at getting bases like this, and they're about 15, 16 quid, quite expensive. So yeah, I thought, what am I going to do with these two Ultramarines? I've got this guy I painted before, and who obviously Togarius, the old vintage model, and this one, the other one I've just shown, which is, it's not a named model, there's nothing on it, but I think it's probably an early Sicarius, at least that's what he looks like, and they're about the same sort of time as this one. So I thought, I'm never going to use them, so I'll just sort of do a little bit of a diorama out of them, just to pass the time. So yeah, these are the stages I went through. I used Astro Granite again, and as you can just about see, they're poking out at the top. I've got these small little bases that I bought off of eBay, like resin type of bases. So just to get a little bit of height for each model to stand on, so they stand out a little bit. And that's how it turned out originally, and before I started adding loads of gore, which I'm sure you'll see in a minute. Yeah, so I just painted it black and then dry brushed it with, what did I dry brush it with? Grey. I brushed it with grey at first, and then white over the higher edges. I brushed quite harshly as well. It's literally almost dry brushed completely over it, but I think it turned out quite well. I was going for the sort of look of the rocks from, I don't know if you remember the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah.
Those sort of, that sort of look. Yeah, it come out okay.
I think it looks really
I don't
good.
know if we know the Lord of the Ring films, like this fucking bunch of nerds. And we're like, no, I don't know that one.
Some people refuse to watch the film because they like the books. So, and
Cool.
like I told, I'm sure I've mentioned it before, I've got Orc things that go on everything, so I put him back on. Just thought, it's not me without one of them on there, so I chucked that on. And the story of the diorama is, as you can see in the background here, there's a butchered Marine who's still alive, looking to his side with the last bit of his strength to watch his captain behead the Orc. And I have got Orc body parts that I'm going to put on there as well eventually.
So the blood and gore, how do you make that up? What paints, what went into it? Because it's quite, it's quite,
bloody,
visceral. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's blood for the blood god, basically. So that's what it's how it's supposed to look. It is quite difficult to use. Sometimes it goes a little bit too shiny when it dries, and you sort of think, but you can wash it. Of course, you can wash it over the top with a bit of Agrax, which is what I've done on the outsides of it, outside areas, and I've put a few touches of can't remember what it was. It's a purple color, cacophony purple maybe, or something like that, just in to make it look like some of the guts and gore. But really, I was trying to think, what could I use as guts, like intestines and things like that, to sort of make it look more realistic. But then I just couldn't be bothered in the end. So I just thought, there you go, blood for the blood god. Everyone knows he's sort of dying. He's bleeding to death. That's fine. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's just something different. I'm never going to obviously do anything with anything Ultramarine on the tabletop. So
I saw this in person yesterday. It is awesome. I don't think the pictures do it justice. It looks really good.
It was hard to picture. Yeah, it was quite difficult.
It's really. I'm not saying it looks shit here. It does look good, but it just looks even better in person. It does look really good.
Take it on tour. Find out who actually watches this and go around everyone's house, Tom, and show it off.
Yeah, individually.
So send your messages to Tom, and he'll come find
Yeah.
Diorama World Tour.
That's it. Our first Patreon can be inscribed on the little gold plaque. No, that's a joke. Don't.
So this is my lieutenant that I made, another Kitbash lieutenant, but I did have something in mind with this guy, so I had to make him really. I needed one of the mastercrafted bolt guns so that I could use the stratagem Quake bolts, because I already have a captain that can be used like that, but I needed a lieutenant with a jump pack. So I used him against Dave, for the Quake bolts. To be honest, I thought Quake bolts was different than what it really was. I thought that when you felled an enemy unit, that they couldn't fight back in if you charged because they were felled. It turns out, reading it a few times with Dave, that it sounds more like actually that's not the way it is. It's more like you just get, I think it was a +1 to your hit roll,
plus
wasn't
one
it, Dave?
too. Yeah.
If you run in on a felled unit, but that's me once again, not so much looking at the logical side of the rules and how it's written, and more thinking, well, if they're a felled unit, how can they fight back? Like it's real life. So I think that was just my brain working like that rather than reading it properly, maybe.
It's nice for you to do something a bit different and go with a power fist for this one as well.
Well, this is the trait of my chapter. That's what they run with. Some
just power fists.
Well, no, mainly power fist, yeah. And obviously the Terminators are pretty much all going to have thunder hammers in the first, yeah. Can I keep it a bit specific like that? The lore of my chapter, the Sanguine Reapers, of course. So that's my champion. Obviously, he's not done there. I have finished him now, and that was by far and away my best model on the table the other night. Just for that individual match, it won't always go like that with this guy, because if he gets attacked from a distance shooting, he's not going to stand a chance. But yeah, he got in there and he done well. The boy did well.
Do you have a standard? Is it standard 3 up save and then 5 up, 4 up invulnerable for the shield?
Yeah, 5 up. Yeah, combat shield. 4. 3 save. Yeah, and 3 save. So he's not got a lot to defend against really. But he's got enough.
He wounds hits on 2s, wounds on 3s, wasn't it? What's his strength again?
5 against 4, so it would have been 3s. Yeah. Mastercrafted power sword, so the damages are 2 as well, so it's not too bad.
And then you can re-roll both of them.
Against the character, I can re-roll both wounds and hit rolls. Yeah.
So it's just devastating.
And you get an extra. Sorry, go on.
And what a fucking idiot! Put Hellbreak
charged into him.
Yeah.
He had enough. He's an old man now, isn't he?
I think Dave was. It's like you say though, like you was just saying, Shane. When you get a new model, you just want to get in there and fight it.
Yeah.
And you don't really think.
That was at the point of the battle where you had brought one unit of Terminators on, and they failed their charge, and I smelt blood a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to fucking wipe them out here. I charged in Hellbreak. I charged in Grimaldus, and I was bringing I had 2 units. I think units of assault intercessors were going to come in. I saw my Reavers, my suppressors, and I was thinking I'm just going to fucking decimate him here, and then completely forgot about all these stats, and then he wiped out all my fucking characters within a turn. Yeah, 2 turns. So bit annoying, but really cool. It looks cool in person as well, though. It's nice to go up against something that was similar to the Emperor's Champion, because I now feel a bit for you and
what we've had to
you
put
and
up
John, what you put up with a bit, and how it feels now when I used to bring in the Emperor's Champion in a drop pod and come and kill Typhus, or your lieutenant and captain before. I've done it before with you, Tom, and so now I know the pain.
There's the smug face we were talking about. He's got it on him right now.
I was trying to compliment you.
No, you're a backhanded compliment. Thanks, Dave. So these originally were going to be another 5-man tactical squad for my Blood Angels / Sanguine Reapers, but I sort of, we was looking at Kill Team, wasn't we? Because the new Kill Team's come out, and I thought, I'm just gonna make a little sort of a small squad for Kill Team just in case we ever play it. And I thought, because I like the Silver Skulls because of the Astartes videos and all that were on YouTube, I thought I'd make them Silver Skulls, and I enjoyed doing it. Something different.
They look good.
Tabletop ready. I was very happy with the way they looked for tabletop ready, but when you get close, there's a lot more detail I probably should put in them. But because I'm sorry.
I was going to say, what's the stuff on the base?
So I wanted it, to be honest, it was just a happy accident. I sprayed them silver, obviously, and I put Talisar blue over it on the base because I thought maybe above the silver it'll look a little bit like Shallow Water.
Yeah.
Which it does, but I've got to go over it again another once or twice to make it really effective. But yeah, it's actually quite a nice different contrast rather than the usual.
No,
And,
I like it. And is it what's the effect? Is that driftwood? Because it's not like the usual tufts. What's the?
Yeah, my dad for what was it for Christmas? I think because he knows I'm into all this nerdy stuff. So he got me like a box full of this bits and pieces that's used for hobbying, like usually like sort of like train sets and stuff like that. You've got the bags of like different coloured moss.
Yeah.
So that's what that was, and I broke it down, and like you said, it looks a little bit like driftwood. So I thought, it looks okay.
And is that a grav gun on the Beaky Marine?
Yep, it is indeed.
Very nice, very nice.
And I didn't even realise how good they are. They're really good for the points value. They're amazingly good. So and anything one of the perks for it is I think it's a damage 1 weapon, I think. But if you go up against anything with a 3 up save, so 3, 2, or 1 as a save, then it will go up to a damage 2 automatically, which is pretty much all Space Marines. So yeah, it's a nifty little weapon.
Right, very nice.
Cool. All right, that's all of our painted models that we've gone through. I think the only other thing we have to talk about is the new boxes coming out, the Hexfire for the Grey Knights and the Thousand Suns.
Is that the box we're splitting, John? Yeah.
Well, I'm not splitting. I think Shane and Glenn are.
Go on.
I know it's tempting, but maybe we'll see how much it is. But like I said, we've got Imperium magazine coming hopefully next month. I can't buy a box as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. I can't afford it anyway, but I would still probably buy it, half of it, just because I want 1,000 Suns. I really want to collect them.
Well, maybe I'll seed the way and let you and Glenn do it, because as I said, I've already got Necrons. I was just getting greedy, and I'd quite like the. But if you're collecting 1,000 Suns, then that's good for the Space Wolves, right? That's all I want is just the opposite army.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to see what the finances are like. There's something about the colour of them with the way that I paint with the silver and the metallic armour that appeals to me with them.
The bit that I don't like about the Thousand Suns is the Zangors. I don't mind, I know they're there. I don't mind them. They're what's it called? The animal creatures from the planet of the sorcerers or whatever. I'm not entirely on board with the Zangors. Like if I was going to run them, I'd try and run them as rubrics and sorcerers as opposed to any of the Zangors, which is the only bit that puts me off. But I like the fact that they're both going to get codices as well at some point because they're doing this, because I know like a lot of the Chaos players will be like, yeah, right, great, because it kind of signals that they're going to be getting other bits and pieces. I don't know when, but at least they're going to be doing it.
The thing I'm most excited about this is that it means that the Templar Codex is next.
Yeah.
So I think the models are cool. And both units are cool, but I don't think I'll ever collect Grey Knights or Thousand Suns. So I think it's good, like you say, for Chaos Marines to start getting a bit more back, because I think they have been completely neglected.
Yeah.
Well.
So
apart from John's.
Apart from the Death Guard.
Apart from Death Guard. Yeah.
Death Guard.
But other than them, yeah, it's cool to get a few more sort of potent Chaos powers to play against. So.
I think that's it for me. Is it's just I like the narrative of playing good guys versus bad guys, right?
Yeah.
So like with John being Death Guard, it's easy. You can play anything against him because he's always the good guy, as John would say. But always the bad guy, right? But Marines on Marines, it's like it's like a training match, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not. Lore-wise, it's a bit tougher to put together, but that's why I quite like having Necrons, because it means against the Sanguine Reapers or the Namakaj Crusade, I could bring the Necrons and it still fits lore-wise, and that's why it's quite nice to maybe have that option of something like the Thousand Suns or something else. But knowing that they're going to get that codex means you're going to be not far off.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But the models in it are really cool. And again, it's cool to have something like this that's not Ultramarines and Necrons as well.
Yeah.
But I think it is almost on the level of the sort of the old box sets from But the starter editions, I can't remember what it's called now, off the top of my head, Indomitus. This one, is quite similar to the Sisters one that came out recently as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll get a few more of these. We'll see.
Who would, if they bring out a Black Templars box, who do you want to see facing them? Something similar to this.
See, I think it probably would either be Necrons or Orcs,
See,
but they've both
out,
sort of had their.
They've just brought out the Beast Snaggers.
So, exactly. So I can't really see if they would have them with anyone else. I don't know.
Maybe be some Tau. Have they had theirs yet? This edition.
But yeah, maybe. But Tau aren't a massive threat, though, are they? But if anyone's going to come up against a Tau, then
who's
some
Dave? Who's their
Black Templar
heretic Astartes sort of nemesis, if anyone? Is there a specific?
I don't think they've really got one. They just fucking hate everyone.
I mean,
if it comes to anything, obviously from Descendants of Dawn. So
it's the Iron
Warriors, I take it.
Yeah.
But
and the Iron Warriors are corn as well, aren't they? Majority, and there's not. I know they're undivided, but a lot of them, because there hasn't been a lot of corn stuff.
I don't know much about them, if I'm honest. Yeah.
But,
so that'd be cool if it was the Iron Warriors or
Iron Warriors are Perturabo, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they are corn actually. I know. Well, I know that they're the least corrupted. In that they're the most Marini because of Perturabo, like how he is. He's just like that chapter's. They just really got pissed off at being underappreciated.
Okay, guys. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Iron and Ceramite. Obviously, we're on Facebook too. We've got a Facebook group there. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. Obviously, just search us, and all of our videos will come up. Spotify, Apple, all other good podcast services. We're on Twitch, where John occasionally plays Space Marine, and obviously we have a Patreon as well. So if you'd want to support us, then that would be lovely. We'd much appreciate that. It would all go back into the channel, and also we are Element Games affiliated. So if you click on our link on Insta, then it will take you straight to Element Games. You'll get a decent percentage off, and we'll get a little bit of a kickback at no extra expense to you. So yeah, cheers for watching.
Thank you. And I will release my orb of decadence all over you and say exterminatus.
What's that, like that, isn't it?
As always, we would like to thank you for listening to our Iron and Ceramite podcast. If you liked us, then you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any other good podcast services. Just remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
Not too much, really, gaming this week. I think it's just you and Tom and I'll start that bit again. So. Cool. Right. With that awkward silence, shall we? We've gone just over an hour, so I'll leave it to one of you guys to prattle through this for a change.
Come on, Tom, you haven't done it yet,
haven't I? I'll try and see. I've got a small phone here, but so remember, guys, you can follow us on Instagram at Iron and Ceramite, of course. If you use the hashtag Iron and Ceramite for the chance, let me start that again. Sorry, I can't barely see that. Let me read it first.
If you stay exactly like that for the whole time you're reading it,
I can't do that. It's ridiculous. Okay, cool. I'm not going to read that. I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to go through. No, I'm just going to go through the main bits.
Yeah.